So, Shirley Ann, you have any particular questions for the series? Have you been following the series?
No, no, not at the moment. I must admit, I've not really embraced the teachings um, because I do so many other things and they've all taken precedence. But now I'm beginning to accept this softer side
Hmm.
more and appreciate it a bit more. And my understanding has um, developed. So it's always been there in the background, but I've never taken too much notice of it. But now I can see the benefits. And like Maya, I've been quite poorly for 2 weeks. I think I had COVID, and because there's COVID is quite high again here,
Mm.
and it just brings you back down into that inner self, inner awareness. Um,
Hmm.
and then I've been doing some somatic yoga. So appreciating more of the, because I do exercise a lot, but appreciating more now the kind of inward journey. And then,
Right.
I just love all what Bonnie does, but I've never really truly took it on board. And I
Okay.
must admit, sometimes when I used to join the groups were quite big, and it was when there was the other two who used to do the Italian guy and the girl. Oh, I can't remember who they were, but I have joined some of yours as well.
Okay.
And I just used to get lost. It was a bit too above my head.
Right. 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 Yeah, I guess it tends to be like that sometimes, especially when many people who are in this BMC bubble,
Mm-hmm.
so they use specific terminology and like a shared language. And I guess it can really be too much for somebody who's not so deeply involved with it. Yeah. Yeah. And my question is always has been like how to. I see this gap that is happening. When people, BMC people get together, it's like talking in codes. If you don't know the language. But then when somebody just, wants an experience, it's a different kind of approach, I would say, and different kind of language.
Like the people are very selected out already in BMC.
They're what?
Like selected out, I would say.
Uh-huh. Hi, Evanthia. Did I say
Hello.
that right?
Yes, Evanthia. Hi,
Evanthia.
everyone.
Okay. Hi. Where are you from, Evanthia?
I'm from Greece, but I'm currently living in Switzerland.
Okay. Thank you for joining.
My pleasure.
Mm. So we were just talking about generally about BMC and Bonnie, and do you have any specific um, ideas, topics for today, questions?
Um, I think I feel called to just, uh, say what I appreciate about Bonnie's approach.
Hmm.
Um, I like that she introduces introduces things from the inception of an organ, like the very beginning stages of how organs are created, right?
Hmm.
Uh, I appreciate that. And I also find it difficult in some ways too. Like there's like elements of Bonnie's work that I really resonate with, and I also find it challenging. I don't know. I don't know if that is something that you connect with regards to that. It's like, um, how do I sort of make the knowledge practical for myself? I
Mhm.
don't I don't always know how to bridge that gap. I don't know if anybody has that same sense.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I feel the whole field that she has brought is very wide and in a way very complicated
Mhm.
because she does go to this particular anatomical detail, and just by staying in this realm of anatomy, there are so many of these little parts of us which can be named and differentiated.
Mhm.
And yeah, I feel this can also lead into sometimes into confusion, that it's not helpful. Um, and then when we add embryology and this whole topic of how we've been created, it makes it even more complicated. So this question that you ask is very, very good. I mean, how do you make it useful for us? For me, is always like the answer to be to go to simplify as much as I can everything, like not to get lost in the details, but to stay with what's known to me and what kind of draws me, and then explore that and just forget about the rest. Um, and maybe a time will come when I will go to something new, or but it has to be some sort of an organic process, I would say. Can you relate to this, Shirley Ann, about what you were saying in the beginning?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
have like a similar experience?
yeah. Because I've got such a great interest in it, and I teach as well, and I love the subject matters, but it's over my head. It needs to be brought um, either back to more practical level.
Right.
I think just withdrawing it right back to base level. And as I say, when I've joined the groups have been really big, and I haven't had a clue what they're talking about. And I've thought, oh wow, they're far too advanced for me, and it's put me off. Um, and I've purposely kind of made myself join a group
Mm-hmm.
to help, really, to help me embrace the teachings, because she is so interesting. She's got all that knowledge and experience,
Mm.
but it just rolls off her tongue. It's natural to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can, I feel the gap.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel it's also important to put it in a specific context of the way that she structures her classes. So I feel, hi Francisca, um, and that's something also that she's been talking about. She structures her classes not in a way. Um, I feel she has this need to just put out all the material out, and not to be intended that we need to understand it immediately. Or but I feel she's just putting, like, here you go, everything is out, and then just take a little part of it, a little piece of it. And she's always bringing us back to this idea that it's a lifelong study. um, but she understands very well that the volume of the material that she's giving is not something that we can grasp in 90 minutes. But I understand the frustration if you come to those kind of classes and it's just bombing you, bam, 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 bam. Amardeep, next slide, Amardeep. you know, one, one, one slide after the other, and then it's too much. Yeah. Mm.
It's not a criticism in any way, Ivan.
Yeah. 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 No. 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 It's not. It's also, I feel each one of us has to find some particular personal way into it.
Hmm.
uh, there's also this element because the work is highly experiential, and it's constantly bringing us to our own experience. And in a way, we were talking some time ago about this idea of maps, that she's like giving us a certain map,
Mm.
which can seem very complicated. Like we get a map of the city and we have all these streets, and but then actually to have a walk around the city is a different thing. It's a different kind of experience. So I feel she's offering maps, but it's up to us to explore it and to find like these little seeds that spark our interest, I would say. And I feel one of the dangers of this approach, dangers in quotation mark, but there is a path that certain people take, that they get over focused on the anatomical details,
Mm.
and they kind of have a feeling, if they connect some obscure anatomical detail in their brain, like it's gonna upgrade their practice. Or um but BMC is not really about piling up anatomy. It's more about this personal experience of what is available to us at the moment, and being okay with it.
So even just to be okay with it and to be told that, Ivan,
And to be what?
and to be told that, to put that out there, that it's okay to be um, kind of just take from it what you can. You don't have to, I am where I am with it, and I just need to take what I can from it instead of giving myself maybe a hard time. I don't know this and I don't know that.
Yes,
Just starting from where I am.
exactly. And one of Bonnie's quotes that I really like is, embodiment is not what it should be, but what is. So I feel in the essence of the teaching is just coming back to our own experience, coming back to the present moment, and finding this love and acceptance and um, for what is. And I mean, life is complicated enough that we allow also like the practices that should be helping us to kind of cause extra confusion. You know what I mean? So these are the things that I find nurturing and should be helping us, and they shouldn't be making us feel like we're not enough or that there's a goal to be reached. Um, but I feel BMC is supporting that and in a way deconstructing our approach to self care and self working on self, which always has some goal in front of us. So we are always putting some goal, which is unattainable in a way. Um, whether it's the old traditions with this idea of illumination and whatever it is, but it's always this feeling, okay, I have one more step and I'm there, one more step and I'm there. But I feel BMC is very much grounded in the present moment. And out of the awareness of this present moment, some change can maybe occur.
I also find that there's kind of like this beautiful unfolding in her knowledge. You know, I did the endocrine model
Mhm.
online. I've never done an in-person um, meeting. I hope at some point my work schedule and my life schedule has opening for me to go in person. But I did the endocrine system and I didn't understand most of it. But at this one part, I really, really loved. And to make a long story short, it was this like an exercise of really trying to lie along the side of the body and trying to find that balance. And I found it so challenging and also really, really fun. I felt like it was integrating aspects of um, my body that was really, really subtle, but also very, very strong. And I kind of felt really sort of a little embarrassed that of all of the things that I learned in the endocrine system, in the endocrine model, that's like the only thing that my body was really able to take on and absorb was that one thing. And then I was like, well, actually, this is pretty profound. I mean, this part of the practice felt very profound to me. And why isn't that enough? Maybe this is just what my body needs to absorb and what my mind needs to absorb at this moment. And how can I really just embrace that? And for the past 5 months, I've really just been practicing. I've made that aspect of Bonnie's that course, just that one movement, that one practice, the only thing that I've really adopted.
Mhm.
And it's really beautiful. It's enough. It's enough right now. So I just wanted to share that.
Right. Yeah, beautiful. And this is something that you incorporated into your life, and that's the most important thing. And the rest that was there, but it didn't resonate with you at the moment, that's perfectly fine. I mean, because, your glands are still doing their thing inside of you. um, in a way, all the things that we are dealing with, we are just pointing a light into the processes and structures that already exist inside of us. Um, and I feel it's very important to approach it with this, to have some sort of a playfulness about it. Because if we get too serious, then we start thinking too much and wondering if I'm doing this right. And then we lose it. We lose the contact with the cellular intelligence. But staying in this playful mode and in a way, yeah, just diving into it, then it becomes an exploration and we don't really know where it's gonna take us. And sometimes it can surprise us, like we can do one exploration and we start like feeling inside of us, but then we start feeling, I don't know, some sensation in completely other part of the body, and then our attention goes there, and but something frees up in completely different location, and there's this element of playfulness, I would say, a lot. Maya, Marion, you want to add something?
I can add something. So, like, thank you for the sharings and the reflections. I could resonate a lot with them. And regarding it, regarding the teachings, I was in that phase, or I would say I am currently in the phase where I say to myself that I that I do not believe into anything unless it got me out into from a from a dark place. And yesterday, for example, I was really glad about Bonnie's teachings from class 2 and also today, because I was very sick. I had a strong pain in my spine and I felt like I couldn't breathe. Yesterday I also got the message that my grandfather passed away. And then I was there, and then there was this question, okay, what should I do with that? And for example, what Bonnie said mentioned in the last class about the space that we can feel, which is around the notochord. I was lying there in strong pain, and then I remembered it again. And then it passed away. And I was, or from the outside, I wasn't able to breathe. Also, of the message of the passing away and also my sickness. But then it brought me this other option of, okay, there's this breath in the alveoli, but then there's also the cellular breath and the mitochondrial breath. And when I'm in the mitochondria again, then there was this place of total exception and also the place that's before words. So, yeah, in many moments when I hear from about the teachings from the first time, like nothing rings inside of me. But then there are those moments or opportunities in life where things get challenging. And I would say, especially in those moments, the teachings helped me a lot. So, but regarding the playfulness, this is something I have to work on.
Mhm.
think in relation to what Maya was saying about the playfulness, um, from the classes, I do try and embrace the playfulness, but then in relation to what Maya said as well, for me, where she's recognised that space because of how she felt and the news that she received yesterday. I think for me, going in and listening to the inner world is a challenge in itself because I've never really done that. And I'm only, even though I've known about it, it's only now that I'm starting to embrace and appreciate what's going on inside and how the body functions. And then listening, like, as I say, I've not been well and it's brought me right back down. Normally I'm quite a high energy person. I've come right down. And you have to withdraw. And although I've been poorly, that uh, the essence of being able to withdraw and listen to that inner world, listen and notice the space in with the breath, with the breathing, it's quite a nice exploration. And I think within the space, again, within the space, just enables a little bit of growth, a little bit of getting to know who you are, because in that space can become quiet. And then noticing within that space how much the breath can actually, one, externally expand the physical body, but then noticing the expansion and space down to the kind of cellular level, even the stretching of the organs, of the muscles, and then taking it deeper and deeper, and then to what it's doing on the mitochondrial and all the other systems within the body that make us work.
Yes, and I appreciate what you said about how just none of these things is a given, and it can be quite challenging to dive into the inner world. If we have spent most of our life or part of our life where we were actually disconnected from this inner, or just living without specifically going so deep into the physical body. So I feel it can be a really challenging, exciting, and even a scary process because there is so much inside of us, not just the structures, but the thoughts, the emotions, the different vibrations that we carry. It's all inside of us. So we carry a whole universe inside of us. And then we decide to jump into it. And then it can also seem overwhelming because it's big. It's really vast. So I feel it takes also a little dose of mm, not just curiosity, but also courage. Um, yeah, to just, okay, let me see what's inside. Let me look under my microscope. um, and let me face whatever it is, because it's not all roses inside. It's the whole palette of who we are. But for me, it was always encouraging journey, because what I found inside, even though there are things which can be scary, it's also, I always found some layer of inner support that became a resource, that became something that I can go back to. And then all these little anatomical details that we go through in the class, they become something real and tangible. Like, aha, okay, breath, alveoli, feeling how it is to awaken, to breathe, to create space, to feel the cellular level, to feel the subcellular, to so many layers of support inside of us that we can then use um, in a very particular, concrete way, like Maya was describing.
Sometimes I feel in order to access those layers of support, I mean, I know they are there, but in those moments where I definitely want to access them, then they are like so far away from reaching.
Mm,
And what I loved, this example of the stone that Bonnie said, in order to let it go, we have to feel it, the stone at first. And I experienced once, twice, thrice that once I felt the stone and really allowed myself and accepted the weight of the stone, then the gateway of those resources are opened again.
mm, yes. And I would add that it's also a form of practice, that the more we do it, the more it becomes accessible. But always there will be this way when we feel completely disconnected. I don't know if it's always, but in many cases there are these moments where, okay, I felt something very empowering inside of me, but where is it now? It's gone. It's not there anymore. Um, yeah, but I feel that's a normal process that we go through, and that it's often connected with our mind and the state that we are in at the moment, and then developing this ability to just stop, also make a pause and stop the thoughts, intrusive thoughts that are pulling us in many different directions, and despair and pity, and how to make this pause and reconnect with what's on the inside, wherever we're drawn. But mm, I feel that's the practice part of it. By practice, I mean we lose it, we connect, we lose connect. It's like going back and forth, but never giving up, never never doubting that it's there. Knowing that it's there because it is there. It's inside of us, and if we felt it once, we can feel it again. But we are not machines, and it's it's also a play, a little bit in one direction, backwards, another. Francisca, how are you? You haven't said anything. Sorry.
No, I came here to bathe in this wonderful energy. I'm sick. I got a cold or the flu or whatever. It's good enough that I can sit now. And um, I interesting because lying in my bed for the last 2 days, I had immersed myself a lot in the world of regulation of the nervous system. And in my filter bubble, a lot plopped up. Be like, okay, do this program, and then you will be able to. And it's exactly what you described. Like, you can immerse yourself deep enough, but deep, and sometimes it's like running after a goal, and that's even inserting more stress into the system. Like, okay, if I do that, if I only go deep enough, then. And at the same time, it was interesting to read a lot or to listen to the videos that kind of advertised all those programs. And in all this experience and learning and overload, I was like, okay, interesting, because what if, everything was already there? Um, what if I did not, what if I already had the resources? Because many things I read was like, okay, I'm already doing something like that. And I did Bonnie repatterning the nervous system, I think 2 years ago or three, I don't know, I'm not sure. And at the same time, I shared that I have a metabolic issue going on, or disease, let's say, and that affects also the nervous system. So regulation is a topic. And they say that, the nervous system is not really able to integrate, let's say, new patterns if there's not a base of like your body has the right supplement, or that's what they say in therapy. That's also interesting. So there's listening to that all, being in the space of body mind centering in Bonnie, I remember Bonnie saying, I'm confused. It's like, okay, that's my experience as well, because there's so much information, and some seems antagonistic, and some, so what's the right thing? And okay, maybe I would just sit here and listen to what's said, and just ground myself in whatever, even just yield. Yielding is something I can always come back to.
Yeah.
And being sick and lying in bed, yielding is something that comes, and I don't have to give it any effort. And yeah, so it's not specifically about breathing what I have to share, but that's it. Like the whole mixture.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel in the end everything connects with everything. And it is about the breathing as well, because we can always go back to the breathing. Yeah, and all these things you're saying, I think they're very important. And we also need to realize that this is just the world that we are living in this wellness industry, and like millions of courses and approaches and contradictory information, and a lot of it is based on this idea that if we buy a certain product, it will give us a certain release or a certain goal that we will be able to, overcome our problems. And God knows everybody has problems, and sometimes we are really desperate in our search for health. Um, but in my experience, it really doesn't work like that. There are no courses we can really buy to achieve full health and fullness. Yeah, and yeah, that's why I was drawn to BMC, because I felt it's a different route. It's not really promising anything. It's more of an invitation for an exploration. And it cannot promise anything because we don't know how the other person will go through it, how he or she will experience it. But having this base that we can go back to, whatever it is for us that we've found, whether it's yielding or what you said, something that's available, I think that's super important. Just to bring us in the moment, just to yeah, having something that's close to us, that we know that we can come back to it, and that we need to remind ourselves, oh, it's there, because often it's about forgetting and remembering. We forget and we feel a certain tension, and then we search for the solution and we don't feel well. But we also need this moment where we say, okay, I don't feel well right now, but what can I do? I can take a pause. I can maybe feel my weight. I can use my touch to kind of like feel myself and to go with what's pleasant. And I can just breathe for a while. And I'm guaranteed that if we do that, only that, our state will already change. And we will be able to kind of like move through the tension with some in a different way.
So I noticed this week, I do think I had COVID. I've had a water infection, but I do also think I had COVID. I had COVID about 4 years ago and I was very poorly. And the first time I had it, I can remember I woke up during the night. It was early morning, and that can be quite a scary time. You think you're alone. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm one breath away from kind of, if I don't take it, I'm going to die.
Mm.
That's how bad I felt. And anyway, obviously, I've got over that. This time, I haven't been as bad. I've had similar symptoms. But what I've noticed with the breath is how laboured it's been and how noisy. Well, it's not noisy, but it's louder. You know, if I'm in bed, I can hear that noise, that breath. But even that, I've kind of liked that in a way, because that kind of breath that I've had, um, I it kind of resonates through the body. The heaviness of the breath. It's not being laboured and it's not being uncomfortable. It's just been heavy and I've been aware of it. It's not a soft breath. But I've kind of liked that breath in the fact that when I breathe, inhale and exhale, it kind of resonates through the body and gives me a little bit of a nice vibration. And when I'm like half asleep and I'm just lying in bed, it's almost, I find, kind of soothing in a way, if that makes sense. Um, but I've noticed now the breath catches at the back. The inhale, it's kind of right at the back of the throat, and I am a bit breathless, but that will improve. I will get better. But it's interesting that I like that heavy. Do you understand what I mean? The heaviness of the breath.
Mhm.
It just kind of soothes me. It almost takes me, and I don't even know why, it takes me back to like when I was even a baby. Not that I can remember being a baby, but you know, sometimes when you see a baby and the baby's sleeping and they've got that breath about them. And I do often, I've wondered if that relates back to that time. I don't know. That might sound a bit crazy, but I know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, and like this sound of the breath can really calm us down.
Mm.
And there are even like different yogic breathing exercises where we focus on the sound, on the passageway. And it's really soothing for the whole system. And the fact that you feel something with the lungs, it's also because if we don't usually we don't think about breathing, but this condition that you had, it brought awareness to breath. You notice that something is different, and then just by bringing awareness to it and connecting it with the sound, it can be very, very soothing.
And just listening to you talk then, Ivan, my mum has just been diagnosed with lung cancer. She was a heavy smoker.
Mm.
And so she's got a nodule and that's going to be getting removed. So part of her lung is going to get removed. But it's interesting. So she has COPD as well. And it's interesting how I notice her breath and how, you know, a little bit of exertion, even just light walking, can bring that shortness of breath.
Mm.
And how when she talks, it's kind of, you know, and it's interesting to look at how the breath is in each of us, which we just take for granted. We don't even think about the breath, do we? We just don't think about it. And yeah,
Right.
it's quite amazing, really. It functions on its own without us even giving it any attention.
Mm. Yes, and it's like our unique signature for each of us. And it can have so many different expressions and layers. And also the lungs as an organ, like the tissue of it, like the delicateness of it, but also the strength and the power that it brings us. It's like both. But when we get down to the fine structures of the alveoli, it's very delicate, it's very tender, the lung. Or Bonnie was exploring in the last class the embryology of the lungs, how it's created from this single, she calls it lung bud. And for me, that's a very moving image, like to how our lungs started from this little tiny bud, which then grows and fills the whole. The preciousness of it also. Marionette, you want to something?
Let's see if I can express what came in my body, mind, soul. um, Listening to you, Celian, when you was talking about your mother breathing, and also, yeah, Ivan, you said this is our unique signature, and the then the word voice is coming to me. It's like also Maya, you was talking about this place before words, before at the beginning, no? You said something like that. And it's just such an intimate relation, the breathing in, out expression of ourselves. What is there? And maybe for me, there is a key. I was struggling a lot these last few days. And it started from a moment I had to express myself in another online meeting. And more I was talking and more I was falling somehow. I was completely losing the ground of my confidence in myself. It was a moment of supposing doing a presentation, but there was no challenge. I did put the challenge myself, or I don't know what there. That something was there in between, inside and outside, and stories. But my question, yes, is really about this relation. Where is the place? You know, yes. Integrity and voice and breathing, inner voice, outer voice, voice of others' voices, and also these unverbal voices, like what we are sharing. And yes, that's all. I thank you, because I can't say something right now with you, which yeah, maybe makes sense also for you. For me, it makes sense. It's helpful. Yeah, expression. And the breath is really going with this tuning. For me.
Yeah, and the link between breathing and voice, it's like there's not one without the other. There is no voice without breathing. So in a way, it's a very intimate process of taking in and receiving and giving and expression, of course.
Yeah, because what needs to really be integrated to really dive inside, to be able to uh, go out again through through what what is expressing. I can talk and not say nothing understandable for you, maybe. Or maybe you understand me, and where does it come from, this understanding? Is also the understanding of myself, me understanding myself enough to make me understandable. And yes, I don't know. uh, this place of integration, because at the beginning also you were talking about anatomy knowledge. I don't know, maybe I didn't get everything, I just arrived late, so but it was making sense also for me, because I'm in this course, additional course for the practitioner program, and learning anatomy and physiology, and this was this course online, this meeting, monthly meeting with some colleagues, and not everything needs to be named or integrated, like, yeah. And yeah, I'm learning how to as you said, the stone, no, the weight, to feel the weight of the silence inside, and the integration also of nothing, to just understand the little things, and to have just a little, maybe what you said, remembering of something, or revelation of something. And it's, for me, it's really about learning how to breathe deeply, and to combine this cellular level with the of breathing with the lungs level of breathing before to talk, or not only before to talk, but just while listening myself. And it's just some space to give, not only to myself, but to others. Because we breathe all the same air, and maybe the space is also something we can breathe from the lungs. From the feeling of the rhythm. You breathe, you are breathing while you are talking. Maybe I have a vibration of this rhythm, this cellular rhythm from outside. Maybe we are exchanging some cellular breathing through our through this computer. It seems difficult.
Well, for
But
sure,
no,
we're creating a field together.
Because we feel each other even through this screen, and we are here like little cells above each other, three up and three under.
I just remembered my yoga teacher who was always talking about this rhythm of the breath and how it's how it's modulating from inhale to exhale, and then he would always say, like, if you want to make your exhale stronger, you don't do that by exhaling more, but by practicing the inhale, practicing the receptiveness of the inhale, because inhale is receptivity. And from this deep receptiveness, the exhale comes naturally. So I feel there is something about this receiving, but also diving in our depths, so that when we decide to exhale, it's coming from what is ours, what is our essence. And what is our clarity? Like, what do we want to offer? What do we want to say? Francisca, did you want to share something? I saw you open the mic.
Yes, it was a thought when Marinette was talking, just something I associated, um, because what I heard was, beginners to express and express in a way that it kind of is meaningful or lands with others and is already like something shaped and presentable. That's how it occurred to me. And it made me think of, the way I do art. And often I express something, but it's still a search. So I'm expressing, and in giving it an image, then it becomes something I can read or understand. So the expression comes in the expressing. It's a process that's what I heard. And then it's kind of, Marina went on, and I had the feeling, okay, that, you know, she, the moment was a bit, over to share that. But yeah, maybe of contribution, I don't know.
Okay, are you up for a little like a somatization meditation? Do you want to add something before we begin? I feel we brought a lot of things to the space. I would just like to do something very like simple related to that like beginning of when we were talking, that what is the application of this, and that it can get too complicated at times. Okay. Okay, so we can begin by closing our eyes. And I think the first step is always having a quick checkup with how we feel. Especially now after all this talk, and just noticing there are certain thoughts that are flowing inside of us, and emotions and physical sensations. Just taking a little time to land and allowing the echo of all that we have talked about to just flow inside of us. And we can begin also by setting some intention, maybe, for this short somatization that we have. I think this setting of an intention can be very powerful, or it can be just a question or some direction where we want to go to. maybe we can put a little attention to the space that surrounds us. So feeling that we are here, we are present, we are allowing our weight to flow towards the ground, but also feeling that we are embedded in a bigger space of our home. Just noticing that there is space around us and that this space has boundaries, has limits. And hopefully we feel safe and protected in this space, and maybe we can move a little bit through this space. It doesn't have to be big movement, it can be a small movement. But with our skin, with our outer layer of skin, we are in direct contact with this space, with this air around us. So at one point we feel the contact with the ground, whether we're sitting or lying down. And the other is feeling the space around us, and two different feelings. The contact with the ground has substance, has density. In contact with air, with space, is more spacious, more light, more open. So what is our balance at the moment of feeling groundedness and spaciousness around? And as our weight is flowing through the ground, it is as if it connects to the center of the earth. So also recognizing that on this planet we are a part of a larger ecosystem, and that we share this space with also plants and trees. The plants and trees which release the oxygen into the air around us. So feeling how this air is enveloping us, enveloping our skin. And slowly becoming aware of the breathing as well, opening our awareness to the breath. And just noticing how on the inhale, this outer space is flowing into our bodies. Focus just on the inhale. How there are passageways of our nose and our mouth, and how this air, oxygen-rich air, is entering our nostrils, and in a way entering the darkness of the inner space, entering our inner universe. how something from the outside is flowing into us, and how ourselves we are receiving this which is coming. We are accepting it. We are taking, we need this breathing. And how following this breath is flowing into the chambers of the nose and the concha, and then flowing through the windpipe into the lungs. So can we feel this on a cellular level, just opening our awareness to it? Not something that we need to create, but something that is, it's here, it has been here all our life. Feeling how this air is filling the passageways in the lungs. And how just by breathing, our inner space can become wider. So we are not a block of material inside of us, we are space as well. And the breath can open this space. Staying a little bit with the spongy tissue of the lungs filling up, widening, expanding. Feeling how there's movement in our lungs as they are filling up with air. And how our lungs are in close contact with the heart. How there is communication there. Bridges from the lungs into the heart. And how does this feel right now? Our lungs, my lungs, my heart, my being, my breath. What is there? What do I feel? What do I sense? Can I come a little bit closer to this tissue? Can I embrace them? Can I say hello? And remembering how this breathing through the lungs, how the oxygen is traveling into the heart, into the blood, and then nourishing every cell in the body. So something which started from the outside, passed through the passageways into the darkness of our inner, and from the lungs it's being distributed to every cell in the body. Again, something that's happening on its own, something that has always been happening. So we are in a way just witnessing this process, but as we witness it, something changes in it. The question, where in my body do I feel a need for more space? Is there such a place? And can I bring my breathing there? Can I remember that these parts of my body are also breathing? That there is capillaries there and blood, that blood is filling this space, and that oxygen is also coming to these places, and that the cells in these locations are also breathing and exchanging fluids and receiving what they need. And also giving out what they don't need, like carbon dioxide. Again, can we feel our breath being received deep into our body? And also feeling how we need to balance this inhale with the exhale, that there's a rhythm to it. That we cannot inhale forever or exhale forever. And there are pauses in between. Pauses which have rhythm. And how, as we exhale, something from inside of us just goes outside. And in a way, it's our offering to the outer world and the trees and the plants. And also noticing what feels more comfortable for us. Do we find the inhale easier or the exhale, or we just enjoy both equally? But in the end, appreciating just the act of breathing, which is giving us life, which sustains life inside of us and sustains life outside of us. And how, as we exhale, we also have an ability to produce sound with that. A sound that only us can hear, or sound that can be heard by others. a way to express our inner. As words, as song, as sound, as a sigh, as emotion. And when the sound dies out and we are at the end of the exhale, how again a new inhale comes in as a reception, as a receiving. And as we continue breathing, we can again turn a little bit of attention to the space around us and maybe open the eyes and perceive shapes, colors. And can we still breathe consciously, but also become aware of the space around? Hmm. And we come back for a little sharing if we feel like it. Hmm.
Allô? Vous m'entendez?
Oui.
For me, it had turned into Kentsugo into Seitai session. Kentsugo uh, Ken, Kitsugen Undo. Ungo. Oh, well, Seitai. Yes, because something was shaking. There was this vibration, wanted to make a junction between these different layers of breathing, and be more efficient into transforming the mind. As I had so much struggle these last 3 days, and then I felt, wow, but it's so nice because actually you want to do a session of Seitai, of Katsugo Undo, and the day you want to do it, there is no autonomous movement coming. And so if we could just shake whenever we need to shake, whenever and wherever it happened, it could be so much healthy and yes. Well. And in the same time, slow motion also, it was a little bit mixed, expanding, listening to the breathing, breathing, taking space in the body. Just let the body free to breathe in any shape it needs to breathe. Yeah, it's not finished.
Maya?
I wasn't shaking, I was lying down, but just in one short sentence that once you let yourself into it, that afterwards it makes something better. It did, thank you.
Yeah, also I appreciated your your voice guiding the session, and when you said there we are not inhaling, exhaling forever. There is a pause. It was such a nice vision of this place in between. And sometimes if I hold for too long time, or I don't allow myself to breathe, to let breathe my body freely without holding, without imposing a rhythm which is not connected with my whole being, then there come a moment where something is turning wrong. you know yeah, and so when you said that, I thought, okay, yes. It was like a revelation. Yes, this is a lemniscat of the breathing, this still point, the pause. But what does it mean? The pause, inside the pause, there is so many things to explore. Maybe this was just a pause, what we just share now for 1.5 hours with a lot of breathing inside.
That's true. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little bit crazy, no?
Yeah.
And I'm getting dark and dark.
Mm. Julianne, you want to share something? How do you feel?
I think initially, when I first started, I could feel like I felt like I've been in a vortex. I could feel kind of energy going round anti-clockwise, not clockwise. And then I just have so much respect for the breath and the space and just dropping into space and allowing that quietness. Then my phone rang, and that disturbed me. And then it was coming back to the breath and to the space. And then I think I was finding it quite difficult then to catch the breath in the sense of the inhale. And then when you mentioned about the sound again on the exhale breath, it's nice just to bring a little bit of a hum or a to the breath for me, and feel that melting and vibration and reverberating around the cells. You've also mentioned about the expansion of the capillaries, and I had this sense of everything expanding and moving away from the constriction and tension that I'm generally in.
Mm.
Yes, there was a lot. There's a lot, isn't there? Just in breathing. There's so much in the breath.
Yeah.
And I think I've arrived at nearly 60 years of age, and I'm only just beginning to explore the breath. And I just find that revelation quite profound, really.
Mm. Beautiful. And I think it's great if we can approach it with this beginners mindset, or approach it as a mystery rather than something that we know how it's happening, or because we can learn all these processes and read about them in a book, but to experience them in embodiment, it's nothing short of magic, right? It's very alchemical in a way. um, Transformative. Thank you. Francisca.
I really enjoyed, experiencing going into the cells and also listening, waiting for which movement might come. Because sometimes I was lying still and then there was movement, coming like with the breathing or as a consequence, or, I don't know. And that was really cool because it felt so natural. To move in a way so that the air gets to the cell, or the cells get air and then movement. Yeah, it's just delightful. Thank you.
For me was this moment, I felt really like, also like, expanding and condensing. Had this feeling, need to let the movement flow through the arms. But the moment that really was like a strong image for me was also this moment when something on the outside is going inside of us. And just this idea of, with our consciousness, to step into the nose and step into the mouth, and had this really feeling of how in a way we are diving into some darkness because there's no light there, physical light, but it's a okay, we are entering the temple.
And it doesn't leave us unless it got transformed.
What did you say?
And it doesn't leave us unless it got transformed in any way in the temple.
Yeah, yeah. um but yeah, this feeling for me was something that excited me. Mm. Yeah, in a way, just witnessing the breathing, it's also transformative. This is this part of simplicity that I like and that I stress as important. In a way, it's this basic life process, and we know about it. Okay, but just spending a short amount of period of time with it, and not going into too many details, it already did something to us. Okay, shall we finish for today?
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Oh, I want to share with you a little drawing of our session.
Great.
Send it to me, please.
You can send it to me. I'll
And
put it.
in front of me, I have a picture of a little girl, the daughter of a friend of mine. So she's here, and here is Maya.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Just a
Thank you.
little check-in. Next time we meet on Wednesday or on Saturdays? Because I think this week there wasn't a video from Bonnie.
Mm.
So for the Bonnie group every Wednesday,
Okay.
but I also put some Saturdays, not every Saturday.
Okay, so next time it's Wednesday.
Yes.
All right.
And the group on Sundays, it will start tomorrow, and it's something else.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Thank you. Namaste.
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 See you around. Bye.
Bye.